I want to do a video on valves, fuel pump valves. This is your basic Carter fuel casting. This is what Carter puts in for valves. And in order to remove them, it's pretty simple. Take a 1/8 punch, put it right in the center, and just steady tapping, nothing real hard, and it'll knock it out. And what you end up with is the spring that's on the floor now. This flat rubber piece and that, and like I said, that spring that fell on the floor that I'm not going to pick up. When you get one of our kits, you're going to throw all of this away, and we're going to use should have had this ready before, but I didn't. You're going to use a rivet. You have a conical spring and a new rubber plate. And again, easy to install. Down inside, and just tap on that rivet. You want to drive the rivet down inside so that it comes out the other side, 1/16 of an inch, something like that. If you open up your Carter fuel section and you come across something like this, what's happened is there's a rebuilder out there that for some reason it drives out, bores out all of this. Instead of replacing it with the way it's supposed to go, it drills that out and presses in an AC valve. Now the thing that's troubling is, if you look around inside that hole, it's not round. It's like he bored it out with a Dremel tool and then put JB weld around the outside of the valve and just kind of smooched it in there. This might be a little easier to see. It's just not consistent. It's not round. It's not pressed in either. It's just kind of glued in there. If you have something like this, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to send me the casting, and I bore this out so that I can press in one of our valves to repair it. I have a tool that I made that just opens it up just enough so that this thing here will press into it, and then you're back in business. But you have to send me this. Now, here's a lesson on valves. You have an AC pump, and it's made by Airtex. And you look inside and you have these things. You have these valves. No, you don't. You have these valves. Airtex used these valves here, and for some reason, if I happen to get an Airtex pump in here that's failed, chances are this valve has fallen out. One of these valves has dropped out of the hole. I don't know what they've done, but it's a common problem with an Airtex pump using these big valves. They just kind of fall out. The valve that we put in its place looks like this. Same size, but there's more of an area in here that presses in. And takes care of that problem. Now back to these other valves. You have a Carter pump, and it uses these valves in you have a dual action pump, and these valves are in the vacuum side. You'll see them looking like this. You've got to knock that entire valve out of there. This whole piece has to come out, and one of these gets pressed in. Now it's bigger than the Carter valve. The Carter valve is smaller than the AC valve, but this will press in place of it. That's only on Carter pumps. Now I'll move back to an AC. Small valves, you start out with something like this. This is our valve. We use this. Works great. Actually flows more fuel. Now some AC pumps, I think they're in the Pontiacs, use a gigantic valve. This is the normal big valve. You can see the difference. It's pretty much Pontiacs. I don't remember seeing it in anything other than Pontiacs. And we've already gone over the Carter valves. We don't have to see that again. Carter also uses this type of setup. Down inside of here is a valve. I went over this, how to replace these, in another video. I won't get into that now. And this is the equivalent of Stuart Warner valves. Just a round disc. There's a spring on top of it. Early AC pumps that use these valves with usually there is a dome like this sitting on top of it, a spring, and this sits on top. Obviously there's a gasket underneath this. The other end of it, this is normally over the diaphragm, and the other one, there's a nut that goes over it, that goes into it, and it's that's over the fuel bowl. They use these two small ones. There's also the next size up. They use the bigger ones. I have one in here somewhere. That little dome that I showed you, there's an even bigger dome. That's on AC also. And that just about covers it. If you got a problem taking a valve in or out, or if you have one of these deals that's been hacked apart, drop me a line in the comment section. If you got a question on anything, drop it down there. Let me know, and I'll see if I can answer it for you. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps.